All meeting to order. Okay, please be aware, RMB Council meetings are live streamed to Facebook.com/Belfast PEI. Live stream comments are not monitored in real time and during the council meeting. Visitors, please remember to sign in. In the spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge that the land upon which our organization stands is unceded Mi'kmaq territory. The Epiquic Mi'kmaqi is covered by the historic peace treaties of friendship. We pay the respects to the indigenous Mi'kmaq people who have occupied this land for over 12,000 years, past, present, and future. I want to take a minute, and since we have the fire department here in Mass, I'd like to thank each and every member for all that you're doing. On behalf of council and staff and community.
Thank you. Much appreciation for everything. Thank you.
Okay, declarations of conflict of interest. Do any members of council have a conflict of interest with any items on today's agenda? Trish?
Actually,
Not necessarily.
Garth, maybe you could read the red part, just to
Okay.
make sure everybody's clear.
Council members involved in any CCBF grant applications on today's agenda are required to declare their conflict of interest for public record. Council members in conflict will be asked to leave the room in their specific,
If
their specific conflict is being discussed individually. That said, those same council members are eligible to participate in discussions and voting if dealing with the council motion as a block. For example, the committee recommendation for council consideration or a separate council motion involved with the CCBF fund as a block.
So there are a few council members in conflict should the come to discuss their individual applications, so they should declare it now, and it'll only take effect should each of the individual applications be discussed. So they should declare it now. I know we have Trish mentioned with the fire hall.
Charlie is the
Charlie.
Iona Park.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Billy.
Bob.
Bob.
Yep.
Anyone else?
You good?
Okay, any other suggested items for today's meeting to be placed under item 13? Trish?
I'd like to discuss Bob's email message about emails and confidentiality.
That'll be on item 15E.
Anything else? Okay, may I have a mover and a seconder to adopt the agenda as presented and amended? Moved by Trish, seconded by all in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Motion carried. Okay, RCMP report for the month of June and July. Admin asked for the question.
Okay, so Sergeant Robinson couldn't make it tonight. He sends his regrets. July incident rates have fallen since May. In May, we were up to 36 occurrences within Belfast. I've heard from various sources with the RCMP that they have increased their patrols in our area, and we are back down to our 25 calls per month average as of this month, as of July. So the RCMP reports have been updated on the RMB website in case anyone wants to review them further. That's www.ruralmunicipalityofbelfast.com. That's all I have for the RCMP reports this month.
Thank you, Ashley. Public presentations, if any. Members of the public are offered 5 minutes to make a presentation to council. Reminder, should any member of the public wish to speak on any issue on today's agenda, this is the time allotted for that. All other agenda items are reserved for council participation. There are members of the public wishing to speak on any items on today's agenda. No. Adoption of the June 18th, 2025 council meeting minutes. Previously attached, distributed, and all changes have been incorporated. Everybody do their homework? May I have a mover and a seconder to approve the minutes of the June 18th, 2025 council meeting as presented?
I know.
Moved by Lynn. Bad names today. Seconded by Trish. All in favor?
Aye.
Nay? Motion carried. Business arising from the June 18th, 2025 council minutes. Dealt with in today's agenda. Okay. Adoption of the July 30th CCDF committee meeting minutes. Previously attached, distributed, and all changes incorporated. This item is for CCDF committee members only, as there are no other scheduled committee meetings for the near future. May we have a mover and a seconder from the committee? Moved by Charlie, seconded by Lynn and Trish. Arm wrestle part.
He's got it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays?
And remember, you have a vote as well on this, because it's commercial.
That's right, you were on the voting.
So I get 4-0, is that correct?
Yes. Business arising from the July 30th, 2025 committee minutes dealt with in today's agenda. Okay, next is our CAO report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm happy to report that our finances are on track so far for this year. You will notice if you turn to page 3, you'll notice it's still showing that we are at minus 34,000 at the moment. That's because we had some overages to start the year, and because of that, we decided we wanted to pay out the community grants sooner than later. So all the community grants are getting paid as quickly as possible so they can do their projects for the year, but at no time will it affect our cash flow in a detrimental way. So all that to say that the expenditures and community grants are on track as per the payment schedule. If there's any questions about financial. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Okay. Okay, recommendation of the 2024 to 2029 Canada Community Building Fund Committee recommendations to council. Committee chair, Councillor Trish Carter.
Okay, it's a lot to read here. All right.
You want the mic in the chair?
No, I don't. Yes, you can handle it, Mike. You be on call. Following a 5-week call for proposals, the CCBF committee met to discuss and deliberate all the applications received to ultimately determine a recommendation to council for the dispersal of the CCBF cycle funds. Committee discussed all 7 applications received, including application number 7, that did not meet the not-for-profit status. This application was rejected as referenced in committee minutes. While the committee felt that all applications had merit and value, the majority of the committee felt that at this time, the higher priority for RMB municipality should be for the new fire hall project being proposed by the Belfast Rural Fire Department. A motion was put forward by the committee that the entirety of the CCBF fund be dedicated to the fire hall project, and in a 3-to-1 approval vote, voted to bring that recommendation to council for consideration and concurrence. Per the request of the Canada PEI Infrastructure Secretariat, a formal motion resolution is required from council for approval in principle. The motion, resolution, and application will then be sent to the Infrastructure Secretariat for final approval. Not done reading yet, hold on. All right, resolution number 1. Resolution to award the CCBF for the 2024 to 2029 cycle, August 20th, 25. Whereas the Council of the Rural Municipality of Belfast has decided to allocate all the notional funding that is available to the municipality through CCBF funds for the 2024 to 2029 for a not-for-profit organization, and whereas from July 20th to June 20th through July 25th of 2025, 5 weeks, the Rural Municipality of Belfast, RMB, held a call for proposals to all not-for-profit and community development organizations for proposal applications for the use for the CCBF funds. And whereas, as authorized through the RMB bylaw number 2018-2, a bylaw to establish municipal grants, both committee and council meetings were held in public for the dispersal of the notional funds. And discussions were made in public. And whereas, through those public discussions, the Rural Municipality of Belfast has selected to the following for the 2024 to 2029 dispersal. Do you want me to read the numbers?
Just the
The
name
number?
and the last number.
That Belfast Rural Volunteer Fire Department, it's recommended that they receive $294,835.51. And whereas the Belfast Rural Fire Department is incorporated as a not-for-profit organization, incorporated in November of 1967, and participant as a co-applicant with the municipality, and whereas the Rural Municipality of Belfast will be responsible to see that the project is conducted in accordance with terms of the eligibility and ineligible expenditures and ultimate recipients' requirements, as found under the funding agreement signed with the province. And whereas, as the municipality does not own the asset, the Infrastructure Secretariat will need confirmation that the not-for-profit organization will own, operate, and maintain the assets after project completion. If the not-for-profit organization sells the asset within 5 years, the organization will need to transfer the awarded funds back to the CCBF. Therefore, be it resolved that the Rural Municipality of Belfast approves in principle the allocations of the CCBF for the 2024-2029 funding cycle as listed above, and forward the approved applicants to the Canada PEI Infrastructure Secretariat for final approval.
Well done.
That's a lot.
Take a second.
I'll move.
And I'm not allowed to vote on this?
Well, you're allowed to vote, yes, but your seconder was.
Second, third, whatever.
Discussion.
Okay, any questions?
Okay, I have a whole lot of questions. I'm gonna read a little bit of some stuff here. Now I'm gonna comment on a lot of it. I'm gonna ask a lot of people from the fire department about some things. As we all know, we're experiencing the effects of climate change, and obviously this is going to continue into the future. It's important we have a well-equipped and trained fire department. So I kind of think that there may be a shift of resources towards medical responses in brush fires, particularly brush fires, because I've seen coming from the west, I've seen what happens when we get big brush fires going, and I also see the resources that it takes to control them. It's absolutely unbelievable when you get a large brush fire going to try to deal with it. It doesn't just, you don't just do it with a small fire. There needs to be some kind of in fact, I even think there needs to be some kind of a provincial response to this, or some kind of a plan coming forward from the province to assist these municipalities in the event that there is some kind of an outbreak that's far too large for a small department like Belfast to deal with. So as a municipality, I think that a large part of the operations of the department are funded by the taxpayers of Belfast. So therefore, it's important as a council we have a clear understanding of the requirements to have an effective fire department, as well as the costs associated with its funding and the impacts on the municipal budget. I would like to see, before we actually vote on this, I would like to see a well-documented financial plan for reaching the goal of developing the proposed extension to the existing fire hall. And this should consist of a statement outlining exactly what will be included in the project and a rationale while each part of the project is a necessary component. So the information that I have to this point is basically broken down into 5 parts. Number 1, additional bays. Obviously, we need that. In fact, probably more than what they've asked for. There has to be a storage component. This makes perfect sense. And also storage facilities. You expect the people are out coming back all sweat and covered with soot and the likes, that they have the opportunity to clean up. So those 3 elements I have absolutely no issues at all with, and I don't know that you comment about them. But I do have some on some other things. And this came from a comment that was made at the meeting that was held at the rec center. A second story containing a kitchen that could be used as a warming facility, and meeting room and storage on the 2nd floor. I completely understand the first 3 elements. But when I do a community inventory, I find we already have 2 complete warming centers, Wood Isles and the rec center. The school with the kitchen, the old Wood Island School, housed the BCDC clubhouse and the Legion, for which meetings, all of which are available, as well as there's a meeting area in the fire hall. So I have to ask a question first about the 2nd floor. Wouldn't it be better to keep everything at ground level? And by moving to a ground floor, would it keep the cost down from the proposed budget?
I'll be
I'm asking the fire department on this.
So, point of order, Jim. The questions have to be asked through the chair, and if the chair decides they need clarification from the fire department, that's fine. However, I can answer that question for you because I've been working with the fire department to be able to answer those questions. Mr. Chair, are you okay with me answering the?
I prefer to hear it from members of the fire department.
What's that? Well, we're still discussing the motion.
Okay.
I would prefer
Yes,
to
it
hear
is.
it from members of the fire department.
So as per the mayor, I'll answer that first question. First of all, I think we need
Are
to.
you going to ask the American Fire Department for that answer to that question?
Bob's going to answer that question.
Okay.
Okay, so the first thing that needs to be clarified is that the fire hall project, the entirety of the fire hall project, which is approximately 1.4 million, is not what's being asked for the CCBF fund. What is being asked for is the eligible expenditures from the CCBF for basically the first few phases that will use up to $294,000. Whether the project ends up going to fruition in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever, that's not what is on the agenda for today. They have only applied for monies that the CCBF will cover for part of their project. They're not asking for approval of the $1.5 million project because we're not giving them money for the $1.5 million project. Secondly, what you're asking for as far as a detailed plan, you will notice that the detailed phase 2 of the fire department's project, overall project, and what CCBF money will cover is a detailed plan so that they can get the costing and for all of the different components. The other thing that's happening is after the if the fire department should get the funding from CCBF, that will cover $294,000 out of the $1.4 million. And then, because it's going to create a detailed plan with expenditures, the fire department, working in conjunction with the rural municipality of Belfast, will be able to apply to things like the Federation of Canadian Municipalities Green Fund, the Association or Atlantic Organization, ACOA, RGI, and a number of other organizations for specific funding elements that they do cover. There is, for example, monies that it's possible through the FCM that we can get construction monies for. So basically, the idea is to try and get, once the CCBF money is allocated, that will give the fire department the information to be able to go out to all these other funding agencies. And the overall idea is that if we can get as much of this project paid for by other agencies as possible, then the fire department will not have to come up with any additional monies themselves. Does that answer your question, Jim?
It doesn't even come close, but anyway, it doesn't even come close, but we'll continue on here. And I was talking with some of the boys from the fire department outside, and they answered this next group of questions that I had about connecting with Murray River. And one point that I would like to make about that is seeing they already have the engineering done. I kind of like the idea of having a single story fireplace, fire hall, rather than a two-story one, and kind of forget about the community meeting place. We've got lots of other places to use the community. If anything, move the money to expand the fire hall even more. What I really hate about this whole thing is that this notion that it's going to be a 5-year project. Because I see in the minutes when I read them from the thing, that there's only part of the agreement is quoted, not all of it. The part that's quoted is basically this. It says that, let me think down there, here's the thing. I've got it here. So when I read the agreement between the feds and the province, I saw several things that piqued my interest very much. And the first one was principle 2 of it. It's called the flexibility of approach. It said, in a pre-recognition of the diversity of Canadian provinces, territories, regions, and communities, the CCIF recognizes the need for a flexible approach to program delivery. I hate the idea of a 5-year plan. I want to see it done in 1 year, that's simple. Eligible expenses, the expenses associated with acquiring, planning, designing, constructing, or renovating a tangible capital asset is what Bob put into the thing here. But there's another part to it. It says this. It says, and any related debt financing charges specifically identified with that asset. So that makes a big difference because it moves from a 5-year plan into where you can, that money that's allocated each of the 4 years can be used to apply towards debt. So I thought about that, so I gave Curtis Lumsden a call at the CCBIF office. And I'm not stupid, I put the question to him very directly. I said, if we built this over 1 year, would we be able to take the monies that are allocated for the next 4 years and apply them to the debt? And the answer was yes, we could do that. So that kind of makes a whole difference over this 5-year project. I think we should do it in 1 year.
Point of order,
And another thing,
that is
I'm
incorrect
still not finished
information.
yet. A long shot.
That is incorrect information. I had a discussion not only with Curtis, but Andrew, the manager.
I said
And
that you
basically,
didn't want to reply.
and basically, they are not, this application is not applying for funding from, or for financing. It is only applying for items that are eligible expenses. And they made it clear that they do not cover financing. They only cover eligible expenses, which I outlined to you in the
Yeah.
document that I sent you.
Eligible expenses. The expenses associated with acquiring, planning, designing, constructing, or renovating a tangible capital asset. And any related debt financing charges specifically identified with that asset. So that was the question I put them to them directly. And the answer that they came back to me with, when I put it to them, was yes, that could be applied to the debt over the next 4 years.
I asked for it in writing, they said no.
Well, they never said to me, they never responded to me. They told me verbally, and I said to them, that's why I said I want it in writing.
That's what I said, I wanted it in writing.
But just to clarify, the fire department isn't asking for financing for a loan, they're asking for the monies for specific
That
tasks.
is correct.
And one of the specific tasks is related debt financing, charges specifically identified with that asset. But why did they put that clause in there? Because that's a free. Because when I saw that clause, then I asked them about it. And I discovered something else that I wasn't aware of when I read the agreement very closely. When I read further, I discovered there's 2 intakes a year. There's one in the fall. Now, in their documentation, they say September 22nd. No longer than that. We said, no, it's October the 3rd. I probably previously thought the entire 5-year allocation had to be allocated all at once and had to be done at this meeting tonight. I discovered that it doesn't have to be at all.
First of all, thank you for asking that question, because it allowed me to confirm with Infrastructure Secretariat exactly the rule with it. So I had a confirmation with Andrew. You'll remember, no, you weren't on council then, but in the last cycle, there was a requirement that we have to identify all the monies before they allow any monies to go out. So I asked Andrew, is that the same situation for this new cycle? Or could they just divvy it out on a yearly basis at the regular intakes on an annual basis?
Take
They said,
proposals each year?
what's that?
Take new proposals each year?
Yeah, that was the question. Can you do intakes every year? And their answer is definitely not. It's a requirement of the Infrastructure Secretariat funding that all $294,000 allocation be identified. That said, should something happen, let's say year 2 or year 3 or whatever, something happens and whatever the application that's in there suffers some sort of change or loss, then can you go back to the Infrastructure Secretariat to make a change? The answer is yes. However, at the very beginning, when you ask for the monies, which is the 294, it has to be the entire cycle amount. Otherwise, they will not allow any spending until all 294 is allocated.
So much for their flexibility of approach.
Yeah, that's the
That they,
requirement that
that
was
they start
confirmed.
that.
I have a
And so much.
question. So $294,000 is available to us. Say in a hypothetical situation, we only had people come in and ask for 100,000. If we didn't identify 294, we couldn't allocate the 100,000?
That is correct. We had that situation last time, and we actually had to make a decision about how we were going to allocate the rest of the money, because one of them dropped out.
In any event, I'm going to support that it all goes to the fire department. I have no problem with that at all. But I also think that the fire department needs to get, this is just dealing with CCBF funding, The fire department needs to get their act together with the rest of the finance and do it, and they should put it together so this thing is finished by next fall. And I really don't care what it costs the municipality, but we just have to know what it is, because we're not a poor municipality. And I know that, for example, the province gave Murray River $233,000 towards their fire hall. They're going to give us at least that amount, I would expect. And and plus, when we add on the other monies that's going to be allocated to CCBF through this, we're starting to get down to something that, where it starts to make sense that we can afford it. Particularly if we can cut a little bit of monies off of that $1.3 or $4 million estimate for the cost. And I think that the way to do that is to expand on the first floor and kind of forget about the second floor expansion. But anyway, that's for you guys to deal with. But anyway, I'll support whatever it is you do. And I'm going to follow up a little bit more with that, that interpretation of gold, because I don't see why the hell they put it in there to any related debt financing charges specifically identified with it. Anyway, I guess that's all I got to say.
I do have one question in regards to the application. I noticed, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, on social media it said that the tree clearing, I saw the pictures, that the tree clearing and stuff was done. So I guess this is a question directly to you, Bob. There is $55,000 in the CCBF allocated for that purpose. So does that affect, the fact that it's been done before the application's gone in, does that potentially affect the CCBF? Like, should we take that out and fill it with something else?
Not in this.
Or does it
no.
matter?
Not in this case, because first of all, they are applying on all the eligible items.
Okay.
And there has been no billing per se to the fire department. They have not submitted any invoices or whatever, and they're doing this on their own, sort of picking away at it until they can get the money.
Okay.
So in this case, it does not affect their funding.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure it didn't come back and bite them
Yeah.
to make them ineligible for that analogy.
And I had that discussion with the fire department
Okay,
2 months ago.
fair.
So hypothetically, is that considered an eligible expenditure if the timing was correct, or is that not one because it's not the designing or construction, or is it considered pre-construction? So say that we award the $294,000,
Yeah.
they haven't done the tree clearing, then they do the tree clearing, they have invoices, would that be an eligible expense?
They have not completed the tree clearing and.
No, I'm just
work
saying
that they-
hypothetically. Hypothetically, is that part eligible?
If they had completed an area, received the invoices and paid the invoices and said, can you cover this? The answer is no,
Okay.
you can't. But what I had said to them a couple of months ago is, don't do that. You can't complete anything and have invoices and pay them if you want to be covered by most funders. You know, they don't fund in reverse.
Right, so I'm just saying, in a hypothetical situation where we award them $294,000, they get all the money, and they haven't done it until after they've been approved and awarded the money, is tree clearing an eligible expenditure?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other discussion?
I'm just gonna make an offer to the fire department. If you want, I'll come and help you with your applications for all of your funding. I'm not exactly an officer that comes to get money out of the government.
Okay, let's see.
So you can reiterate the mover in a second.
Okay, so we have a mover, a motion on the floor to be moved by Catherine and seconded by Billy to award all the CCBF funds allocated for the 2025 to 2029 expenditures of $294,835.51 to go completely to the rural municipality of Belfast Fire Department.
Per the committee recommendation.
Yeah. is what Bob said. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nays? Motion carried. Okay, next is an update on municipal emergency management plan, training exercise, fire, hurricane preparedness. Ashley.
Okay, so first off, a huge thank you to the rural fire department of Belfast volunteers who have been working hard to keep us all safe. Thank you. There is a fire ban in effect on PEI. Campfires are not allowed. Burning permits have been suspended, and all wood burning is prohibited unless, regardless of what appliances is being used. There are fines under the Forest Fire Prevention Act, which are being enforced. Fines can reach up to $50,000 plus victims' cost. In addition, a person causing a fire may be liable for all damages arising from the fire. For a list of all the precautionary measures, please visit www.princeedwardisland.ca. I have also updated our Fire Smart documents on the RMB website. Next up, I have a little bit to discuss about hurricane preparedness. As you know, hurricane season is now upon us, and we're closely monitoring the weather, looking ahead at the storm pipeline. Council, please take this time to review your positions with the MEMP team and what your specific responsibilities are associated with your role. Also, please note that you will be required to attend a meeting 2 days in advance of any storm that will impact our area to help prepare our post-storm plan of action. I'm happy to report that we, RMB, managed to secure a 25-person shelter cart from the province. It is now situated at our primary warming center, which is located at the Belfast Rec Center. This shelter cart consists of 25 cots, 25 blankets, pillows, first aid supplies, radio, and personal hygiene pouches. The Belfast Rec Center continues to test the generator on site on a weekly basis, and I would like to thank them for their proactive spirit in doing this. The Wood Islands generator at this location is actually likely in use right at this moment. They were doing some work today, so they needed to shut the power down, so we're likely using the backup generator at this point. And it was also tested last week, and that test was successful, so we're ready to go if need be. With your packages today, Council and members of the audience, I have given you each a copy of the Emergency Preparedness Guide to review. These are available for pickup at our office, and there are some useful planning tips in this document, and along with emergency kit suggestions, and so that you're ready. I cannot stress the importance of doing this ahead of time because emergencies do not procrastinate. Our office just had a visit from Jeff Thompson last week, who is the Occupational Health and Safety Officer, who has given our office 30 days to complete basic first aid training. I have done this certification, but it's out of date, so I will be joining the Wood Islands Area Development Corporation team to complete their training in Montague, September 17th, 8:30 to 4 p.m. If anyone on council would like to take the first aid training, please let me know so I can get you on the list ahead of time and we'll get you certified. The province had planned for RMB MEMP committee to do a live training exercise entitled Safe Return in Wood Islands, but that's been postponed for the time being, so I don't have anything to report on that, even though it was suggested in the agenda. That's it for me on that topic. But I'm also up next, so if you want me to continue, I can.
If you wish to, take a breath and go.
Woo! Okay, phone system updates. So when the building was moved, or not moved, when the building was being renovated, felt like a move because we did move. Essential wires were cut, and those had to be reestablished by 2 different parties. Bell is confirmed to be on site for the 3rd time, Tuesday, September 2nd, where I am really hopeful that our phone line will finally be reconnected again. I will advise council once this is confirmed, and I will put a new notice on Facebook along with our website when the work is finally complete.
So you don't have a phone line yet? 3 months ago, right?
Yeah, they've come out a couple times, and we finally were able to get things sorted out, and it's looking optimistic for the for the 2nd. It's, as you know, calling for these types of things can take a lot of time, and there's a lot of holding and transferring to different departments and getting hung up on, and then getting,
Yeah, start all over again.
yeah. But I
It's
am
free stuff to do
hopeful.
it.
Yeah, I am hopeful. So I'll keep you guys posted.
Okay, thank you, Ashley.
Thank you.
Okay, the 2024-2025 RMB audited financial report was attached and previously distributed and presented by CEO Brooks. Per the Municipal Government Act, the Rural Municipality of Belfast has its annual financial statements audited as in the past, and the audit firm of MRSP, the CEO, will represent the audited financial statements for consideration and approval.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Everyone has a copy of the financial statements. You received them on Friday. They were also posted on RMB's website for public viewing. All that to say that good news yet again, we had another clean audit, and you'll remember that last year we based our budget on the fact that we projected a $21,000 surplus, but because of interest charges that were unknown, interest revenue that was unknown, our surplus was actually $24,000. So not only did we have a clean audit, but we ended up with a little bit more money towards our bottom line for this fiscal year. The other thing that happened in the financial statements is that the last year or last cycle for the gas tax, which is now called CCBF, was completed in the last fiscal year, and so that's what allowed us to now go ahead and do the new cycle. So everything is absolutely on track, and it's a clean audit. So unless you have any questions, or does anybody
Anyone have any questions on the audit of the financial statements?
And per Charlie's request, we got it 3 months earlier.
Thank you.
Hello? Okay, may I have a mover and a seconder to approve and adopt the audited RMB financial statements for the 2024-2025 fiscal year as presented and amended?
I'll move.
Moved by Lynn, seconded by Jim. All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Motion carried.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, new business for the agenda as discussed and approved in item number 3. And we have, first up online is Belfast Days update. Lynn.
Yes. It has been almost 2 months since Belfast Days, but I just want to give a quick update on how successful it was.
It was successful, no?
Probably our best year yet.
Right on.
Added an extra evening this year, so it was June 26th to the 29th. So we added a Thursday evening to it, and we used a couple different locations. Like I said before, Connect Park, and the Lord Suffolk Park, and the Connect Raceway. So I think it went really well. It kind of spread out, and it gave everyone kind of an opportunity to come to different things if they couldn't come Saturday or whatever. But I'm happy to say that we raised $1,630 for Make-A-Wish. So that was our biggest amount we've ever raised. So I was happy that we donated that to them. And I want to thank the Belfast Fire Department members for being there and helping and making sure everything was safe and helping with parking and showing up and just showing a face to all the people that were at Belfast Days. And thanking our location sponsors, BCDC, of course, for letting us use the Pennant Park and the Lord Selkirk Campground, and thanking the Pennant Raceway crew for letting us again use their track and their area for the parade. And we just had a lot of people there, and the weather cooperated, a little bit of rain on the Saturday night, but other than that, it was the perfect weekend. Finale was the races, and look forward to next year.
Congratulations, big kudos to you and your team for job well done.
Thank you.
Okay, excused absence request from Catherine Bryson.
So you guys probably remember I requested back in January for to be excused for a few months so I could attend schooling. I was able to change my classes back then, so I didn't actually need that. Unfortunately, this semester, being in my final year of classes, I'm completely inflexible and I had to take whatever they handed me. So I am requesting an excused absence for September, October, and November council meetings. That being said, I will continue to respond to emails and send in all of my reports as I always do. But yeah, please.
I have no problems.
Yeah.
I'm,
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Okay, don't go far. Bridge and toll reduction.
So this was just a recognition. I forgot my laptop at home, so I unfortunately don't have the dates memorized in front of me, but just to show a recognition and appreciation to all those in federal and provincial and municipal that worked hard to make that happen. So we're all very relieved that the ferry was included in that package, and it's certainly by the ferry traffic that's coming down the Selkirk. I think it's making a big difference.
I've had numerous people come in the store saying, we're just popping over the day because it's much more affordable, so it's fantastic.
That's great to hear that it's making a difference already for you. So that's obviously what we lobbied for. So yeah, thank you to all involved. Darlene, you're in the crowd. Thank you.
I'd like to make notice too that they should have given Percy Down more recognition than what he did, because he raised that issue in the Senate for about the last 10 years. He's written and lobbied on it extensively. He wasn't really, even mentioned in the whatever the announcement was that they should have. He's a Senate,
Okay.
by the way.
Item D is the Wood Islands Transportation Route.
So also me, now that we have finished lobbying for the reduction of ferry tolls, and we have so much free time on our hands, Ashley and Rob, I was thinking, and I've been talking to a few people, I think now would be a great time to lobby to the provincial government. I know Trish has worked on this portfolio already in the past, but I think now especially is the time to really take advantage of the reduction of the tolls, the increased traffic. I think it would be really great to see a transportation line come out to Orwell. And also I think it would be beneficial for the province to work with Nova Scotia as well to get some kind of transportation line lined up on their side as well. Like think about the amount of people that don't own cars.
How many times do you see it posted on Ask PEI? I need a ride to the ferry, I'm in Charlottetown.
Exactly. So, the increased traffic we're getting with the cars and campers and whatnot, but what about the foot traffic that could come? People coming over for the weekend that don't have a car, they take a bus or whatever to the ferry, get on the ferry, come over, go to Charlottetown. Like, there's just a lot of opportunity here. So, I guess I would like to make a motion that we start to really, at least open discussions on this again. And obviously we already have some of the work already completed, so it's just opening that portfolio again to try to make it happen.
Do you have a seconder? Trish?
How much are we willing to spend on it?
Well, I mean, lobbying is just time.
We'll let you know if it costs us any money.
Yeah.
Well,
What
but it
else are
costs
we
time
thinking?
for the administration, right?
Yeah.
So I think that we should always maybe take a thought, at least. We're not asking somebody to give me a number, but I think that we should probably, when we consider these initiatives, have an idea as to what we're willing to spend on it, because it's Bob and Ashley's time.
Yeah, I agree, and just to build off of that too, it's not just Bob and Ashley's time, because I know Trish and I especially have spent a lot of our time on several initiatives as well, so
Yeah.
I know certainly I'm willing to work on this, I'm sure Trish is as well.
100%.
But yes, I agree with you, Charlie.
I will make mention that for something like that to happen, we need to champion. We do have an MLA in this area, and since the provinces obviously would be involved, that's where I would suggest that any lobbying efforts be directed first.
I was actually not putting you on the spot, Darlene, but I know in the past you've mentioned it, and you had, like, I don't know, I've lost track of time, like 6 months ago, you had mentioned something with it. Do you wanna, I don't know, again, I'm putting you on the spot, you have the right to say no, but if you wanna voice anything.
No, I just raised my hand. Whenever you want me to speak to that, and I also want you to give me an update on the dredging, as far as I know. So whatever,
Go for it.
fit that in.
Yeah.
You want me to do it now?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
So as far as the transportation, I've had a couple of discussions with Mr. Hudson about that, and he's more than willing to look at it. So I think any information that you've got to show numbers or possible numbers, that would be really beneficial, because that's what we need to see. Okay, how much would it be used? And every time we bring up active transportation or bus routes, I always say, well, we don't have any in this district. So I know he's open to that and willing to look at it. So if you can compile whatever information you have and forward it to me, and then I can let him know or forward it to the minister and CC myself. As far as the dredging, there have been a number of meetings about that with the fishers in the area and with the PIFA. And we did have a meeting here probably a month and a half ago. It was a little heated, but that's okay. Fishermen are concerned because they don't want the dredging put out in the strait when the lobster are spawning, which I totally understand. DFO is now saying it's not an issue. So through the jigs and reels, we had a discussion, and I know the province probably 12 years ago did some suction dredging and just took it across the road there, what else, like across the dirt road, and left it there. And so I got together with Minister Bell, who's Fisheries and Tourism, Minister Arsenault, who's Environment, myself, and one of the directors from Transportation at the time. And we come up with a interim solution, which is to do that dredging and to begin with, do that section dredging, and that would delay pushing anything out into the strait or giving us the opportunity to choose something else. And a couple of the suggestions were down on Clouds Beach there, where that spit has been breached during Fiona. The sand just keeps pouring in there, and after the meeting I had with fishermen, I reached out to Minister Freeland, and we had a discussion, and actually the next week she was in PEI, and she requested a meeting with me, so I met with her in person. She's Minister of Transportation and Interprovincial Trade, so I have a relationship with her through interprovincial trade, but also she used to be the finance minister when I was the finance minister, so she's been very open to looking at other solutions. The contract has already been awarded to the Irvings to do the dredging. The dredge is supposed to arrive sometime soon. And I, through Minister of Transportation, there was a letter sent to her suggesting that we start with that suction dredging. And I said, dredging's not going to happen any quicker, regardless of where we put it. So let's start with that. So we have to do 80,000 cubic meters of dredging is what they're estimating, which is a phenomenal amount. And I think when they dredged there before, it was, the capacity is up to 20,000 cubic meters for that particular spot. But I said, well, if the first 20,000 could go there, it's not gonna impact, you know, lobster spawning right away, and it will give us an opportunity to maybe look at those other possibilities, which the fishermen come up with. One was putting a rock barrier where McLeod's Beach is there, and then put dredging behind it. And I did talk to Minister Freeland a couple of times since then, and I said, you know, this is going to make a difference, because if not, unless we, you know, plug that hole, it's just gonna keep happening. So I texted her, sent her the information. So right now it's with transportation. She has the ability to change the contract or whatever's happening. I haven't heard back from her yet, so that's where we're at. But we want the dredging to happen as quickly as possible, but we don't want it to impact the fishery. So those are the two sides of the story. Another suggestion was to put a rock wall out beyond the steels, because a lot of eroding can happen there, and then they could put the dredging behind the rock wall. So those are a couple of options that the fishermen come up with. I've explained it all to Minister Freeland, as well as one of her counterparts, or one of her aides in Halifax. So that's where we're at. I'll keep you posted. I'm sure you'll hear, but maybe positive news just to keep everyone happy, keep the ferry running, and have a better solution. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Arlene.
Yeah.
Okay, is that all for you, Catherine?
Yes.
Okay, Trish is next.
All right, so earlier this week, or going into last week, I guess we just wanted to bring this up amongst council. So my understanding, and I believe others' understanding, is that when we are emailing each other, the emails stay within our group. An email from another councillor was read at another meeting, and Bob looked into whether or not it was a breach of confidentiality. Bob, would you like to say that it is not, and explain why?
Sure, I touched base with, first of all, I looked at all our own bylaws, our conflict of interest, our procedural bylaw, and I checked the MGA, and I also talked to Municipal Affairs. And basically they said if it was not a confidential item, meaning was it dealing with land negotiations, was it dealing with legal, yeah, that's good hint. Legal, land, and HR. If it did not touch on either of those, there was no breach of confidentiality. I checked the code of conduct. There was nothing in the code of conduct that talked about a breach. The only thing that Municipal Affairs were able to offer us is that if you as a council want to work together, then if you're gonna pass on somebody's opinion, that you should ask that other councillor if it's okay to pass on their opinion. However, technically, anything that you say in a council email can be public information.
So basically, you take.
Second, I'm not finished yet. The other thing that was discussed, and what I had sent to everyone, is that it's common practice not to do any debating about a council issue in emails to each other. You're supposed to save that for committee and council discussions, which are held in public, and then a decision is made in public, so that everybody's on the same page and everybody knows exactly what's going on. So at that time, the email that I sent discouraged everyone from trying to debate in emails and save it for the public meetings. Did I cover?
Yep, so I just want to make sure that everyone is aware that anything that I said in your emails, unless it's confidential, another counselor can take that and share it with any other group, or CBC, or any other news source. So, yeah.
That is correct. Oh, and that was the point that Municipal Affairs made very clear, that those emails could be sent to any media source if they wanted to. So If you don't want it to be out in the public, then
Don't write it down.
Don't, yeah.
I have, sorry.
I just have a question. Are counselors' emails FOIPable?
Are they what?
FOIPable, Freedom of Information? Or that, can someone make
Yes.
a request to have them?
Access to information,
Yeah.
yes.
Yep.
What if a counselor was to write, you know, with their signature on every single time that they write something in confidence? Would that be enough to prevent, the sharing of that information if there was that, you know, if they included
Disclaimer.
that piece? Or is that not enough?
It is not enough, because there's no bylaw that we have, and no bylaw that the MGA has that says that would be suitable. Nice try though.
Okay, I have a couple of comments on it, because obviously that's directed towards me. I got an email from Joanne, just asked if I would forward any questions that I had to her, and she'd have the answers for me by the meeting on the 20th, and that came from the meeting we had at the school. So I responded to her and I said, thank you, Joanne. I'll copy some emails I have sent to the counselors to give you the question I would be asking. They mostly revolve around financing and process. The main point is I don't think we should get into a 5-year project. I think we should be looking at a way to complete the project by next fall, and the municipality should be prepared to support this. And that was that. And further to that, I got an email from Garth, from our mayor. I should have copied it exactly, but basically it said that I'm not allowed to attend any public meetings unless I get permission from council, which sort of shocked me. I believe, I don't think he wants to read out the response that I sent back. I'm quite sure that I'm allowed to, anybody's allowed to attend any public meetings, provided they're not giving the opinion of town as representing the council at that meeting. Which makes sense to me.
Yeah, I do. Am I allowed to?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, in your statement, Jim, you said on the personal, but all your questions were we. So that we puts all of council in your question.
Is that right? I sent them all to, that was me starting it, and I sent it to Joanne. I just said, I don't like to sandbag people, as you've noticed. I send emails out when I've got something on my mind, and I send it to all the councillors, because I don't like coming to meetings. I'm not a good speaker, so I don't like coming to meetings, and then be sandbagging people with a bunch of questions they've never heard before.
Just to that point, Jim, asking questions is not only appropriate, but advised that you can ask, as a matter of fact, it's appreciated if you ask your questions in advance. Gives us time to do the research so that we have answers for you during the meeting. So that is totally appropriate. What is frowned upon by municipal affairs and generally council decorum is when you share another councillor's opinion without asking them. However, as was pointed out by Trish already, should any council member decide to disclose those emails that are being sent to anyone, it's totally legal, just not appropriate.
I just want to forward it.
Yeah.
What you said.
Thank you.
Anything else you wanted to point out, Trish?
Okay.
I just want to add another thing too, just be very cautious of name dropping. There was just 2 names that were dropped in emails. Make sure that everyone's in agreement that their name can be dropped during these meetings.
Yep.
Agreed?
You'll notice that when Ashley and I do the minutes for all it said council says this, or a question was raised, and council decided this, or whatever. The minutes never say Jim said this, and Lynn
No, I
said
was
this,
just
or,
referring to, an interaction with Joanne and Garth.
Right.
Just making sure that Joanne and Garth are okay with their names being dropped.
Yeah.
That's all. There.
I think it's really difficult in the age of social media, and especially with emails. You know, sometimes things can be taken out of context, or, you know, if the whole email thread, or maybe people don't understand the discussions that happened prior to the email thread, so it's really sticky. Like in this case, it appears to not have been negative, and you know, I didn't necessarily have an issue with it. It was just more so the fear, especially after the email went out to council. Of course, I assumed it was about me because I'm usually the one responding to emails. And so it was just like, oh God, what's happened now, right? What is going to be taken and said? Maybe something will be taken a certain way when I didn't mean it that way, or whichever. So I think just a heads up for anyone.
I do
Just be
apologize, I
appreciative.
thought that's sophisticated.
So I think that maybe like, I'm just catching up on all this, but I'd say that, Jim, there's no problem with you forwarding an email that you sent to council to people. That's your opinion, those are your questions. Just to be cognizant of if it's in an email string where maybe another council person has expressed their opinions, they might not have written it with the intent for it to be shared. And what we've covered is there's nothing legally wrong with it, but it's more of just a courtesy to the other council people. But there's nothing wrong with you forwarding an email that you sent to the council with your questions and then forwarding it to somebody outside the council.
No, I understand that. I guess it's just I've got a thick skin and I really don't care. Anything I say in private, I'll say in public.
We know that.
Is there any other items for?
There's none other than.
Okay, our next regular council meeting for September, Wednesday, the 17th of 2025, that's upstairs at the meeting hall at 7 p.m., Woodlands Market. And if there is no further business, move the meeting over to Lynn.
Adjourn this meeting.
Oh, sorry.
Just on behalf of the fire department, we want to say thank you for the way everything went tonight. Appreciate the discussion from all sides, especially from the last meeting tonight and before. So I don't know if we can say thank you enough. We appreciate it, and looking forward to working with you in the next 5 years.
We can't say thank you enough to you guys, so no worries.
Okay, meeting adjourned. Thanks, everyone. Goodbye.